Welcome back to Online Darts, everyone. Genuinely, a quick turnaround. It's been absolutely mental trying to make thumbnails and whatever, and I haven't even read it yet.
Do you want me to read out? I'll read out the headline if you want, Phil. We'll go straight
I've
into
not seen it. I've not seen anything because I've been trying to set up.
That's fine, yeah. I'll read the statement then from the PDC. So the Kazoo Premier League will undergo the most radical change in the tournament's history in 2022, with 8 players to contest 16 mini-events during the season ahead of a playoff to determine the champion. The Premier League has had a number of format changes through the previous 17 seasons, with the tournament within 2015. Now established as the wildest reaching event on the circuit, the Premier League will still be played in 17 arenas across numerous countries and offer a bumper $1 million prize fund. A new development, though, will see the Premier League feature 8 players in 2022, with the 16 league nights being individual events comprising the quarter-finals, semi-finals and finals over the best of 11 legs, with a £10,000 bonus to each night's winner. So every night you'll have a winner for £10,000. Ranking points will also be awarded from each night, with 5 to the winner, 3 to the runner-up and 2 to the semi-finalists, to form the league table from which the top 4 players will progress to the playoffs. Across the 16 weeks, players will face each other twice in a quarter-final tie from the draw for 14 nights, with an additional 2 nights seeing the stars face off then. So that is the announcement. And then it says the 8 players field will be confirmed in due course. So the announcement tonight and the statement that says all will be revealed, maybe it's not all. It is,
not
Phil.
All. Not all.
Well, that was just what I was expecting.
Yeah. Just to sort of recap on that. So we're going to have a tournament each night for 16 nights with only 8 players. So the field being reduced from 10 to 8. Does that make it easier to pick the 8?
I mean,
go on. I'm thinking. I'm trying to work out whether I like this or not.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they've gone with 8, and I'm surprised the format. And I don't know. I think it's a bit of an anticlimax for what we're expecting, I guess, wasn't it? I think we're expecting something different tonight. I think we were expecting the whole shebang. We knew everything what was going on. We were come on and do a stream, and we could talk about everything. Yeah, it's tricky now. It's tricky.
Go on, Tis. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, so 8 people. I mean, who are these 8 people going to be then? That's.
Oh, I guess the breakdown of it then splits potentially. We've always seen a Premier League one name that comes. We always have seen a Premier League where the top 4 have automatically been picked. Does that remain the same? Obviously the player sitting in 4th, James Wade, is one who that's debated highly for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
Then do the stick with it being 4 and those. And I think the biggest surprise, certainly for me, and it looks like it is from Phil's reaction and yours, Tiz, as well, is instead of the field increasing to go into potentially 12, 16 and having some sort of, maybe not a contender, but an exhibition or, different variations of what that can be, we've now gone to a field actually being reduced, and it's even more difficult to get into that Premier League.
Yeah, it's one of them. Obviously, there's the controversy that's always surrounded the Premier League has been the fact that is it more of an exhibition thing? Obviously, it's supposed to be elite players, but obviously there's that exhibition element of it. With this now, obviously, with it being 8 players, surely it's got to be the best 8 players, you'd say, that go. But you just don't know. Are they going to throw a spanner in still with 8 players? I mean, are we going to see the likes of a Fallon, for example, with 8? I'm intrigued to see which way they go with it, to be honest. I'm really intrigued now.
Yeah, just digest in my head. Darts reviewer said, "Phil, you don't look happy." No, if you're watching the stream all day, I knew there was. I said, how long have I been saying all week? There's a huge twist coming. So I knew that. And Darts reviewer, if you look about the Riley's qualifier, we've been playing you along because if you look, our website piece went live about 20 seconds after Riley's. We had it written up last night, so we knew it was coming. Because Boise had to get the pictures and that ready. I like the concept of a mini tournament each week, but I'd have liked it to be different players. Me personally, I'm not keen on 8 players for 16 weeks.
Yeah, I see that. We were talking, I don't know if it's this morning, around what I didn't want to see is a rebranding of contenders. However they said it, what this probably brings is games each week with a meaning, which there's times in the Premier League we haven't seen that. So that probably gives you a bit every week. There's no player going into that, and there's nothing on that game. Even if by the end of that week you can't qualify for the sort of the finals night, you can still get the $5,000 prize. So there's sort of that on there. But
just like you say, just digesting it. I like the knockout format idea, and I like that a mini one each week. But I'd have liked 16 players. And maybe you have a week off, play 1 week.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I'd have liked a bit more variation.
So I guess, and just playing devil's advocate on it, I guess the problem with that would have been when doesn't price play from you've sold the tickets and prices there, when doesn't the world champion play? Is it fair if you've brought a ticket in Nottingham and you can't, and then you turn up expecting a Premier League with the world champion in, and the night you go, he's not there?
Yeah, but you
probably
also bought a ticket without knowing the lineup.
Yeah. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
So, but you bought a ticket without knowing the lineup. When all these tickets were sold, no one knew what the lineup was.
Yeah.
So, from that side of it, yeah, the concept I like. I genuinely do. Look, thinking about it, I like
the concept. Yeah, I do. I think it makes it's a competitive. Yeah, it's a more competitive, fair format, isn't it? If you're getting the best 8 players, then it's definitely fair. It's which 8 players they choose to put in there as well, isn't it? So,
and I guess
that's
just from
there.
It seems like Tiz, you're on the same sort of thinking of filling with odds about words. So are you thinking that there should be, say, 12 players that are picked, but only 8 play each week? So then you have 4 any sort of a rotation round?
I'm happy with that. I mean, to be honest, I don't mind this format. I don't mind it, to be fair. It's down to the players that get picked for me. If the right players are picked, it's just if with this format here, with this 8, you've got to get it spot on now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they've gone that cutthroat with it. It's got to be spot on. So yeah, this is where they've got to get it right now, in my opinion, with the players and the venues.
Phil, just probably while you're digesting it and then more information in there, I think it's probably we've got a lot of information, but the bit of information we thought we'd have tonight, we haven't got tonight in regards to the players that are in there. So from sort of the 8 players we see, I've just jotted down a list of who I see in it. And it's probably now, when I said at the start that it's 8 players should be easier, I've got 6 with a potential of 4 to make those other 2 spaces.
The thing is, what I will say on behalf of probably as well, just what I should have said before, possibly on behalf of some of the viewers, is it going to get boring watching the same 8 players every week? That's all I will say. Because 8 players compared to say a 12, you know what I mean? You've got more variety. it's one of those things, isn't it? It's about, obviously the Premier League's about growing the sport. It's supposed to be like a pinnacle event of the World Championship. So
boys,
8 players.
We'll take the call. 2 seconds.
Yeah, no worries. So it's whether it's So it's basically they've got to get the right people for this format, basically, to keep it entertaining for the followers. I mean, if I look in the chat room now, for example, it's 50-50. People are very split on this, aren't they? Looking at it, so might as well even approach the chat room now. I mean, so
yeah, I think just while you're getting those in there, I think one thing that's not mentioned that I've seen, and obviously I was reading the statement and seeing it for the first time, but I think Mace has touched upon it in there, that what we'll see now is the games being reduced down. So it looks like we'll be having, from what Mace is saying, like I says, it might be in the statement, I just haven't come across it, that they will be best of 11. So it'll be mini tournament, Pro Tour rest. So in the sense of they'll just be short, quick fire games, guessing obviously your bid averages, your bid averages, your 180s. You'll see those because of the format then being reduced down again, and then potentially increased as we go into the main playoffs. But yeah, Tease, go into the chat room then, and let's have a look. As I'm seeing as well, it seems to be very mixed.
Yeah, a lot of opinion, isn't there? So Mace is in there. Mace has got his 8 predictions as well. So he thinks Price, Wright, MVG, Wade, Clayton, Smith, Dimmy, De Souza. Wouldn't be a bad 8, would it? No Fallon, obviously, which would be one that obviously people have been keeping an eye on. I wouldn't have a problem with that 8, to be fair. That would be an entertaining 8. I mean, it's how the PDC go about getting these 8 players. Who are they going to put in? Are they going to go off the rankings, or are they going to go purely on entertainment? So what's going to get the figures?
Yeah, and the entertainment part of this makes it bigger now. There's less players, so now we've only got those. What we can't see moving forward is a player coming into this Premier League, and seeing the performance of someone who picked up 0 points. I don't want to pick on Duzza, so I'm a huge fan of Duzza. But if you have someone coming in with that sort of form, what you don't want to see is someone just being the sort of not there each week. But the 8's going to be difficult to pick. I've sort of, like I says, I've got 6 and then 4 maybes to fill those 2s, and I think we're all going to have different types of 8s and what they'll look like. And like I says, the interesting thing is, do you have the top 4 in there?
Yeah, there was. Go on, Phil.
I think 7 are easy. I genuinely just think it's Jose or Rob Cross.
Who's your 7?
Top set. Well, you got the top 4.
You think the top 4's in?
I don't see how you can not. Look, would I put the top 4 in? No.
A complete change. Does it have to be the top 4? All the talks been it has to be. With this change, does it have to be?
I think they'll continue with the top 4.
Yeah. So then, top 4.
Smith, Anderson, Johnny. And then do you go Jose because he's ranked 7, or Rob Cross because he won a TV tournament?
Yeah, so I haven't got my 6 was MVG, Price, Wright from the top 3, Michael Smith, Rob Cross, Johnny Clayton, and then which is my 6, and then in that 5 players I had for 2 spots was Gary Anderson, James Wade, Fallon, Jose, and Dimitri. Because when we was talking previously about the pits and sort of guarantees, Dimitri was always in that mix. Hasn't had a great year by the standards of the previous one, but still he always ticks a lot of boxes for the Premier League.
Do you think Gary Anderson's going to miss out this year then?
I can tell you 100% Gary Anderson's in.
Yeah, well,
he's in.
But Gary Anderson's in. I think I then have the same. I then think it's 7. But I don't have Wade in a definite. I've had the top.
Sure, I mean, Wade's always debatable anyway, isn't he? So it's 8
in
this
this
year.
format, I wouldn't. In this format, especially as well, I wouldn't have him in. But I think he will because he's top 4, and he won the UK Open. I know God says about it a lot. He still won a TV tournament last year. It's hard to leave James Wade out.
Oh, I don't mind having him in there. It's just I know. Yeah. I just know what the general consensus is around that. Do you know what I mean? Around that subject. But
for me, I think if James Wade is in, I don't know where you leave Rob Cross out. The European champion. I don't know where you leave Rob Cross
says to me, Jose misses out.
Which says to me that three names that were in the mix was Jose, Dimmy. When it was 10 and when we had what we thought we was down to have similar to the previous years, what we have then is Dimmy misses out, Jose misses out, and then all the talk that's been around Fallon then misses out. Yeah. And I think how this is set up probably sets up better for Fallon than what it does the previous year of just having 10.
Do you think there's still a chance of Fallon?
Well, it depends how they're going. If they've radicalised everything and say they get rid of the rule of the top 4, or if you've won a major, then there's no guarantee that Rob James will be in either. So they might go proper rogue and go Luke Humphreys.
Well, that's it. I was looking at your Humphreys, Callan Rids or someone like.
That's what I mean.
Completely, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Someone that's really impressed over the worlds and had a good year. I mean, Callan Rids, loads of people out there that you could go for that left wing. But yeah, it's. Yeah, I'm surprised. I didn't think they'd go 8. I just didn't think they'd go 8, to be honest. I just didn't think they'd go this way.
Andrew says, I thought it was written in stone about the top 4. The old way, absolutely. But if they've just radicalised everything, then maybe they've changed everything.
Just to recap for some people who are jumping in a little bit late, Premier League changes will see 16 weeks of mini events and we'll only see 8 players in the Premier League this year. So anyone who's just joined a little bit late, the announcement from PDC is there'll be 8 players, 16 mini events, and we'll have a winner each night, and the points for each night will determine your finals night.
When do the players get announced?
Then that's the format and not the players. That says to me, the players aren't set. If you're announcing everything, if you knew them, then surely you'd announce them.
But there's 2 parts to that.
We're 3 weeks away from night 1.
Yeah.
So
there's probably 2 parts to that. One part being, is it waiting on a certain person staying the Tortard and they're going on that rule, even though we know it isn't one? The second one is, are they going to have a slot available for the Masters or something within the Masters to determine that? And if they are,
I don't think they'll leave it.
I don't think they are, but if they are, surely then they are going on the basis that if you're a TV winner, you've got a slot in there, which would mean Wade and Cross are guaranteed. I don't think they are waiting on the Masters, and it is a lot of speculation around those players. But I can only think of right now 6 guarantees for those 8. I know you're saying Gary Anderson will be in there. Is there a way he's not?
No.
You're 100% on Gary Anderson, yeah?
100%. As we stand right now, unless he got COVID or something like that, Gary Anderson is in.
Which to me makes it 7 guarantees. Because I can't see Rob Frost not being in there. I don't know what the justification would be for Gary Anderson and not Rob Frost, other than friendships over the past 12 months.
So then we've got 1 slot available, and then is it Fallon? Is it Jose? Is it? Where are we going? Dimmy. Yeah, I think we're a bit stumped, aren't we, with this one? I think we're expected to have all the information, weren't we? We've been left with half a story.
Just as I was saying from it.
Well,
go on, PB.
But from a media point of view, this is shite.
It's I can't think if they're waiting for Fallon or not. I'm trying to think why they've left it this.
No, now I don't think Fallon is in on this format because of everything that's gone on. Unless they go massively radical and chuck a few of them in, but I just can't see it. As in, because 7 are set for me.
Yeah, just to go down on the rest of the statement that was released and the breakdown of it. Once then, I'll just recap on it. So each night we'll see quarterfinals, semi-finals, and a final played over the best of 11 legs, first to six. Each player will meet the other 7 players twice over the course of the season in a quarterfinal game. Plus 2 further nights will feature additional fixtures in the same format. The lead points will work in that if you win that night, you win 5 points and a £10,000 bonus for each night. Runner-up will get 3 points and semi-finalists will get 2 points, and that will then collate your league table for how the season will end. So it'll be 5-3-2, losing quarterfinalists at 0.
It could be great. If they get a good 8 players, it could be great. It's just getting they've got to make sure they get the players right, because this is going to cause a lot of it's going to cause a lot of friction. I think this year. This is definitely going to cause a lot of friction within the darts community. There'll be a lot of pissed off people that haven't got the invite here. I think there'll be people maybe expecting something different. I think people may be expected to be opened up even more, and it would become more inclusive almost. But it seems to have gone the other way, where it's become more maybe like a Champions League format. Maybe they might just go right, top 8. There you go. The best 8 are the best 8, and here we go. But
mate, so I've got Dave's press release, mate. I'm just reading it now to see if it's any different.
Beat me to it, Phil. I do like to say there's so many different ways to work it. And to your point, is if more players, Liam made a good suggestion, I guess, in regards to how it could work. Feels a bit similar though to what we did in Champions League, with the winner of each night would enter into a winners group, and then a new player would join each week. I guess the only issue with that is if Peter Wright, Derwin Price, probably the people who are expected to win, will only then be playing 2 weeks, because they'll play the winners, they'll play the week that they win, and then they'll play the finals week. But certainly different ways of including the 12, 14, 16 players by doing it that sort of way. But certainly, it's blew my phone up. I'm sure it's blew yours up even more, Phil, and the chat room has done crazy in regards to all the different things, because the one thing we probably expected tonight was the players being announced. The format was always in talk of changing. But one thing
we're braced for it.
The players, we were certainly expecting some names to be announced, even if not all of them. We was expecting a few. But there's different 8s, there's different groups being fired in, and it's certainly throwing up another talking point or two.
What people say in the chat room then? Who do people think then? Who do people think? So look. So Ian put Price, Wright, MVG, Wade, Anderson, Clayton, Cross, then either Smith, D'Souza, or didn't he? I mean, I can't see a way Fallon.
I can't see him not having Michael Smith in there.
Yeah,
he's a certainty to me. He's got to be in there. So in that sort of pit from Ian's, I think then Jose and Dimi miss out. Phil, back to a point you made earlier. The media part of the Premier League nights is going to be an absolute nightmare for you.
I don't see how it's viable for any media to go. Why would you travel 10-hour round trip for one interview?
The only thing that I think is that I was thinking that you still get to interview, I don't know, quarterfinalists or something, but you're not going to be interviewing everyone on defeat.
That's.
I'm not sold on the 8 playing every week. I'm really not. I just think you can have. Thinking about now, you can have like we talked about Price MVG being a huge name, but we could see it 8-9 times in this Premier League.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Phil, you were wrong. Yeah, look, I was wrong. I thought there'd be some kind of mini league on the side or exhibition game a night where we'd see Fallon, Luke Humphreys, Callum Ridds, people like that.
It's worth doing a little poll in the chat, see what people think, if people actually like the format.
Yeah.
So I'd be intrigued to see what people actually think. Are people happy with the format?
It is honestly tough because the format and the sort of competition each week, I'm not opposed to. There just being 8 players, but like I threw up at the start, I struggle to see how you have a different 8 players when you potentially don't have. You have a poorer night than another night. You could have a night that has Price, MVG, right, and then the following week you might not have either of them, or you've only got one of them. And from a fan's perspective, I get Phil's point that you brought your ticket in advance before the players. But let's be honest, if you bought a Premier League ticket for next year, you know that Peter Wright, MVG, and Derwin Price are going to be in there, unless there's a injury or COVID or something in there. So it does throw up those different things.
I can get where they're coming from because it makes each night competitive. There's like tournaments within tournaments, if you like. The only problem is it's the same 8 players, so it's just how people sort of are with that. If these 8 players can produce goods every night, we get good games and we get entertainment, and we're not seeing the same things happening week in, week out. Then great, and I think that will be the case. To be fair, I think it will be entertaining. I think it's one of them. We're probably looking at this now thinking it's not what we expected, but I think come Premier League nights, I think we'll actually probably enjoy it. I'm hoping that's going to be the case anyway. I'm hoping we're going to get some good entertainment.
The more I'm thinking about it now, the more I don't like it from my point of view.
So we've got.
So what have you clicked on the poll, Phil?
No.
No, you've not clicked. Or now's the answer.
No, I don't like it.
So I can tell you at this moment in time, we've got 90 votes, and there's 70% of people are saying at this moment in time that they don't like the concept. So, but we don't know. So,
just to answer one question from the chat that someone has mentioned: will this mean joint war-tons? I wouldn't think so, because we've still got. We've got 7 games.
Judging by the press release, Darts Reviewer, yes, it's the same 8 players for 16 weeks. The way the press release reads,
I think it's one of them, because what it is I think it's going to be a shame if we see. Well, it isn't a shame. We're going to see the same 8 faces that we've possibly seen before, and it's not going to be anything new to us. It's not going to feel new, even though it's a new concept. I think what's good about the Premier League sometimes is the new faces, the young players that make it exciting, that come in and they haven't seen before, and they give it a real go. And I think what worries me about this, with it being 8 players, it's going to be 8 players that we know very well that can do it, but is it going to be a case of we know what we're going to get? Do you know what I mean? We're not going to see anything that's going to surprise us. That's maybe what I'm kind of worried about.
Yeah, a line that's released in both the press release and on the website does say, to your point, just Phil, The final line before it goes into the format and the league point says the 8-player field for the 2022 Premier League will be confirmed in due course. So from that statement alone, there's no ifs and buts there. It is an 8-player field, so it won't be. Yeah, so it won't be 12 or 16 and split across different weeks. It will be an 8-player field. So they have cut 2 players from what we used to in the Premier League. I'm still trying to digest it all, and the votes are flying in now. We're at 133. Just one thing, we have that 134 votes now. We've only got 41 likes. This is normally Phil telling you off. This is me. That's some likes in there as well. Then Phil's job for him. I'm trying to digest it all. I should be in the middle.
Darts reviewer says, no, look, as a team, we'll be at the World Seniors events and we'll be at WDF events as well. We've got everything covered from that point of view. I'm just digesting it. But how do you think this becomes quite boring as a fan?
This is what I'm worried about after when it gets to 4 or 5 weeks in.
And you've seen MVG and Price, or you've seen Gary Anderson beat James Wade 4 weeks in a row, and you see it again at some point.
Is it? I think we mentioned it while you was on the phone, Phil. Is it just a televised Pro Tour? But like the back end of it?
It's almost like a Euro Tour.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I'm just thinking that I might actually get my Thursday nights back and just watch it at home.
That's not going to happen. We know that.
Genuinely, I'm not going to Glasgow for one interview.
That makes sense.
It makes no sense, does it?
Never hear Phil talk like this, do we?
One interview in Glasgow when James Wade wins night, whatever night it is.
That's my exact theory. You've gone all the way to Berlin and you get to interview James Wade. He sits down and goes, yes, no, yes, no, no, yes, and walks off.
To Barry's point, we need Dobbs' thoughts. Trust me, Dobbs' thoughts will be on his social media at some point if they're not already. Don't worry, we'll hear them loud and clear. But from what I can tell you, he's in the same boat of Mr. Bars in regards to he's not too happy about 8 players playing the same 8 players playing every week. He's Dobbs' initial feel in this, and that's not a lot says we didn't know before, and that's going off a message I received about 10 minutes ago where he says that, and I think that's sort of been the general consensus. What'd be done at this point, Phil? Did you know for the World Cup how we had that survey go out? Be interesting if they sent one out to all the people who've purchased tickets for the next 16 nights to see what their general reaction.
I don't think that one will be going out somehow.
Well, we wouldn't have the results if it did.
Yeah. No, I'm not keen. I'd sit down and reflect on it. I'm not.
At this moment in time, it's not what I want something different. So I've got to say I'm not a fan. It's not to say that I can't be swayed, but at this moment in time, I'm thinking it's going to get boring after about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Oh, the thing to throw out to both while you're still digesting it. No maybes, no ifs and buts. Your 8 players, what you think your 8 players will be for the first Thursday in Feb.
I'm going with what I said earlier. I don't think they'll curveball it. I think the format is enough of a curveball. I think they'll go Price, Wright, Van Gerwen, Wade, Smith, Anderson, Clayton, Cross.
I think, I can't see anything else. Yeah, I can't see anything else, to be honest. That's the 8 that you'd have to go with on merit. For me personally, I'd have liked to have seen. That's why I wanted it to be bigger format, because I wanted to see like Callum Ridds or something give it a go, or Humphreys give it a chance. But when it's been cut down to 8, I think I'm with Phil. I think there's maybe one name that would be up for debate, probably out of Phil's list, but yeah, 7 of them definitely.
Yeah, I'm with 7, and I'm just. I think that I get Phil's point, and I do think Anderson will be in, rightly or wrongly. I do think Dando will be in. The one I'm just unsure about is James Wade. I really am unsure if James Wade makes it in, and I think there's a lot around this being a Premier League that goes to different venues, goes around Europe, and as much as I thought Fallon would be in if it was a 10, I think she might miss out, and I think that Dimitri still might make it into this 8. I think he offers a lot, and I think Dimmy could be in that mix instead of Wade. I can't see any of the others, like I says, other than Dando. I can't see Wright, Price, MVG, Michael Smith, Rob Frost, Johnny Clayton are not in there. Them sits for me are a certainty. It's just those 2 more that make it other. One, like I said, trying to look the positives out of this announcement. Phil, I don't think this and this. There's no more draws. We can't have a draw on a Premier League night anymore.
Yeah,
we must
have
a
true, yeah.
No, there is that.
Someone
do we
I've put that from someone. Tommy in the chat room mentioned that there is no more draws, so we must have a winner to each game, which is, for me is what the dart should be all about.
Has there been any player reactions yet? Has anyone heard anything from players yet?
Oh, well, Luke Humphreys has liked my tweet about it should be more than 8.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I think Luke will probably pretty much know now he's not got a chance, I'm guessing. Do you know what I mean? So.
I'm just trying to think of how this works out. I'm still.
It feels like when they tried to start the Super League, when Gary Neville came down really hard, and then they managed to stop it. We're not trying to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not. Yeah. We're a bit. Yeah, aren't we? I think.
I did one in the chat room. I don't know if that what I used down towards the darts reviewers' comment about the COVID cases. So obviously last year we had Derwin Price who missed out the Premier League because.
Well, I was about to say this is another reason. But yes, it's an 8-field lineup. But if someone gets COVID, now it's easy to shoehorn someone in for a week, and the Premier League goes on.
I guess on that one, week 4, and touch wood, it doesn't happen, but we'll just use Derwin Price as you mentioned them. If Derwin Price then pulls out of it and
he gets COVID, with the new rules, he's only got to isolate for 5 days, so he'll be back next week. They can bring in whoever to play for a week. That mini tournament still happens, and that week still happens.
For the prize money, but in regards to that individual, we'll use Luke Humphreys, as you just mentioned in there. If Luke Humphreys then steps in for Derwin Price, will then Luke Humphreys can win the 10 grand? But does Luke Humphreys get into the semi-finals mean that Derwin Price gets 2 points because he's replaced him in that, or does Derwin Price then not get anything? Because he stepped in as his replacement.
I think he gets no points for that week.
He gets no points for that week.
That would what I think.
If I remember, has someone stepped in before for someone in the Premier League?
Slightly. Wayne Mardle pulled out with mumps a few years ago, and that's when we first saw Gary Anderson and Mark Webster have guest nights.
I was just trying to think if anyone's played for points for someone before. I can't think it does happen, but because obviously we've had players drop out for the odd week.
Yeah.
So when do we expect then, or when do we think? Expect probably isn't the right word after the announcement we've had tonight. When do we think then that the 8 players will be announced with the Premier League only?
Well,
2 weeks till Thursday.
I don't know. They can just drop it any time they want now, can't they? I mean, surely they're not going to wait too long, like the Masters or anything. Is it going to be after Q School? Is it going to be? I don't get whether I haven't just dropped it tonight, to be honest.
To be fair, the fact they haven't dropped it tonight says to me it's not set. It genuinely does.
It can't be.
If they knew the lineup, then
yeah. But what time is that?
But yeah, I don't understand though. What's going to change from now until them making their mind up? Like what's going to be?
Who they want in for commercial value? Let's be brutally honest.
Is that
there are a couple of players in there that Sky especially don't want in. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
And it's not a case of if they win something. It's a case of agreeing the lineup, but they're probably still not agreed on it.
So if we're talking about that, then we're waiting on things from a commercial perspective. So what are we waiting on then? What are we waiting on that's going to change now in the next week? Are we waiting for someone to get a tour card, a certain someone?
No, I genuinely don't think the tour card has an issue. I genuinely think perhaps between the PDC and Sky, they can't agree. So, for argument's sake,
you've had a long time to think about this stuff.
The PDC want James Wade and Michael Smith. I'm just using these examples, by the way. And Sky want Callum Ridds and Luke Humphreys.
Yeah. I've just seen Michael Smith's tweet. That's all I'm doing off, Phil. That's what I was laughing at.
What's Michael Smith tweeted?
Put Bully Boys in.
Well, this looks absolutely mint. 4 praying emojis. Please, PDC, pick me. In jest. But the interesting thing, Phil, and the debate we've been having around, and I know he's not used very much on PDC material, but the image that's used for Michael Smith that is PDC has the top 3 in there and doesn't have the top 4, but it does have Johnny Clayton.
Completely. He won 4 TV titles last year. I think it's safe to say Johnny Clayton will be in.
It's safe to say Johnny Clayton's in, but if you're doing that and the top 4's a guarantee, would James Wade be on that? Can always fit another player on an image.
If James Wade was top 4 in the world and didn't make the front of the World Championship poster.
Yeah, but a certain someone did the same one being the Premier League, so I'm not too sure.
And I'm just going off one of the comments in the YouTube channel. When you look like a scruffy homeless man, are you going to be on the advertising poster?
There's enough filters in this world to make anyone look good. Trust me, I've tried them all.
I thought they were referring to me, to be honest.
No, geez, I would never do that, mate. I'd never do that, mate. Not to your face, anyway.
At least your beard trims.
Yeah, so it looks like, I mean, going off what we can see, people, do you know what it is? People are starting to come round to this idea a bit more now, guys. 41% of people are saying yes. So people are starting to warm to it a little bit, I guess. It could be all right. We can only see. That's all we can do right now, isn't it? We can only wait and see.
It is looking at it from different mindsets as well. So if you're sat at home for 16 weeks watching it, is there a possibility that it could potentially a little bit same games over and over then? The flip of that is if you are a fan who's brought a ticket to go to one night, is your night now better off than what it was previously? So you could do to a night before and you could have 5 games, 4 draws. You might not have that. Where every night you're going to now, you're going to a mini competition. So from someone who's buying a ticket, have you now got a better night than what you would have had in previous years? And potentially that's yes for me.
Yeah, it's just got to be the right 8 players. They've got to get the 8 players right. So, yeah,
and honestly, Phil and Tees, I don't see James Wade being in that 8. Don't know why, I just don't see.
Gob's going to be gutted if that happens.
To be fair, Gob's already in. He doesn't like it. And again, Jack makes a good point here. Say we see Price MVG, Price Wright, Anderson, seeing these big games for 16 weeks, does it then take something away from it when they meet in a match play semi-final, match play final? That's like, I saw this for 5 weeks in a row.
Again, this was the problem with the Super League, with the football. Everyone was kicking off going, it's going to get boring because you're going to see the same people, the same teams playing each other on repeat. So this is why I was kind of a bit disappointed to see the Premier League go this way, because I thought they had the chance to open it up to more people, to get some of the youngsters in to experience it, and to give it a good go. Do you know what I mean? See some new people challenging for titles. I don't know. I'd be intrigued to see if this format lasts another year in the same format, whether they scrap this format after 1 year. We've got to give it a chance. We've got to give it a chance. We need to change our. Yeah.
What I'd probably be surprised with is if they change the concept of a tournament each night. I think they'll stick with that moving forward. I don't see that changing. I think it might be more that there's a rotation of players. I don't see them, and Phil will know definitely a lot better than me, but I don't see them doing this and then doing, that didn't work, let's revert back to 10. I expect them to stick with it in aspects and probably amend other aspects instead of going, no, it didn't work, and back to the drawing board.
Yeah, there's no way of doing it. Like Phil said earlier, if you made it 16 or something, and then you have a week, 1 week it's this, do you know what I mean? Like you play 1 week and then next week you have off, but there's another set of players that come in. That could have been something, but I don't know. The problem is a lot of these players we've seen in the Premier League so many times before as well. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't know. It's like watching reruns, isn't it? Sometimes, but again, you're there on merit as well, so we have to. Yeah,
and that probably goes back to the point of the 8 players that you two picked, the 8 players you named. That would mean that there's no debutants, so we would have the 8 players who've played in the Premier League before. We've got no one coming through their first year. It closes that field a little bit if they go on the pit of the top 4 plus the names that sort of Sky want. I'm in a bit of shock with it.
Look, it's interesting.
Yeah, and the poll is just getting closer and closer. We've now got 44% who like it and 56 not. So it is very even.
It's getting closer, isn't it? People are starting to. It's like Brexit, isn't it? This is Brexit.
And I think I'm the same with it a little. There's aspects of what they've done I do really like.
Yeah.
There's flips of it that I'm not convinced of.
The actual tournament format of it, I guess, I like. It's just the amount of people. I think that I'm a bit like it could have been more.
Yeah, and just to answer James' question in the chat room, it is still a league format. It will just be competitions each week, and you'll get 5 points for the winner, 3 points for the runner-up, and 2 if you are a semi-finalist. Then points will then create a league table, and you'll still have your finals night as we've had previously, which you'll see the prize money, the big prize money that we see in the Premier League. But it will be a tournament each week, but there'll be points for however far you get. So as long as you win your first game, you'll get 2 points, and then that will increase depending on where you go. But it's certainly caused a lot of conversation in the chat room. I know Mr. Bars' phone has been going off non-stop, as we can see. Tiz, you're going through the chat room as well with all the differences.
Yes, certainly am.
It is very.
Hello to Carl's grandson. We've got to say that because he's watching. Hello, Carl's grandson. I don't know your grandson's name, but hello.
Well, his name is. I seen it. Sorry, I seen it as we've done on. His name is Jack. Hello, Jack.
Hello, Jack. You all right, mate? Thanks for tuning in, bud. Devin Peterson apparently said on Twitter it's going to drive the fans crazy. I'm sure it will create loads of darting drama. Take a bow, official PDC and Kazoo. So Peterson likes it then, does he?
As Peterson on invite? No, I'm joking. Not. Yeah, he's and weirdly though, he's one in previous years who's been in that sort of bunch of. He wouldn't go this year, but previous years, if it had been to 16, he's one who would have been in consideration for different reasons. And I think we've got those this year. But the 8 sort of touched that field to a lot of those potentials, and you have to have done something really big now, I think, to be in that 8. Whether it be winner major, be in the top 3, be the first female to do certain things. There's certain things you have to do that are massive to be in that top 8.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, look, it's absolutely right up there now. It's cutthroat.
Yeah, it is. Do you know what it is? What we could see before we end the stream, we could see this going the other way, where there's going to be more people actually like the format. It's going that way now. It's 46%. It's gone to now people that are actually thinking this is a good format. So
the format I don't mind so much. Genuinely, the knockout format I can get behind. As a fan, I can get behind that knockout format every night. It's just the fan at home. I get if you're going to an arena, you haven't been to the other one, so it's new for you. So I think fans in the arenas will genuinely love it. But I think the fan at home could switch off.
I think you could be right. But we'll have to wait to see. So it's just wait. Now we're just waiting for the players to get announced. That is what's going to make or break this tournament now. It's the players that are picked for it. So that is going to make it.
Yes. Yeah, so we got obviously the announcement of players still to come, and fingers crossed we are looking in a better position that the opening night would go ahead in Cardiff with fans. But there's also other nights in there, Belfast, Berlin are all in February, where there's potential question marks. So I think there's obviously the biggest announcement to come is around the players, but there's also some venues that there's probably question marks over, Phil. Just looking at those last 2 in February, with Belfast and Berlin, where potential for changes, depending on, like it says, with COVID and what comes up in the mix in there. But it's certainly blew up its social media has done absolutely crazy. Our chat room has done absolutely crazy throughout, with so many different ideas. All I would say is, make sure we share them with the PDC with all the different ideas we've got for different views of how it works. It is very split. It's close to 50-50 on the vote. It's just hard to pick those sort of players and who's going to be in it to make it as strummed or as, I don't know if it's as strummed is the right word to. It's probably the biggest word when it comes to Premier League is entertainment. So it's not about having your best 8 in there. It's about having your most entertaining 8.
And that's what the Premier League's always been about. So this is why it stumped me a little bit, because with it being 8, who can they say no to? Do you know what I mean? It's ruthless. It's really ruthless. So you're not. What's entertaining with the Premier League is the fact that you've had a couple of wild cards thrown in there every time. With this, I think it eliminates the prospect of the wild card a little bit this year. So that's what is a little bit, I don't know. That's what I'm a little bit unsure of, I think, with this, because we're not going to see a Callum Ridds or a Luke Humphreys thrown in this week that could really ruffle some feathers. This year.
Phil, one question in the chat room to both. not a question as such, more a statement, and it probably has a knock-on effect then to effectively what this makes it is a World Series event. I know you mentioned Euro Tour, but it probably makes it more a World Series event. Does that then have a knock-on effect to the players that are picked in the World Series? Do we then see more opportunities given to some of the names that Tiz has reeled off in regards to your Reids, your Humphreys? Obviously, we know Fallon's been given those opportunities, but does that then have a knock-on effect, you think, to that tournament or those tournaments?
Possibly, yeah.
I think so.
It genuinely is an interesting one.
It's weird that we've come on to react to Premier League announcements, and we've probably got more questions in our own heads in the chat room on the statements.
Well, yeah, I don't know how to react. You can probably tell. I think we're a bit like none of us know how to react. We thought we were going to have all the information, but we've been given half a story. It's like I don't know. I think we're all sat here a bit like what I don't know. I feel like now, what more can we say on this subject until we know the players as well? Do you know what I mean? Until we know the players, we just don't know now. Do you know what I mean? So it's a lot of it's waiting for the players, isn't it?
Yeah. Wait a minute. What's this? The PDC have just amended the statement. Oh, don't say that. Boys, get on the case.
I'm on it.
You are. They've amended it.
With an addition, 2 nights, night 8 and 16, seeing the Stars face off against in draw.
Yeah. So across 16 weeks, players will face off. Will face each other twice in a quarterfinal, and then from up until draw for 14 nights, with the additional 2 nights being night 8 and night 16, seeing the Stars face off then in a draw bracket. So in the other nights, you'll end up playing each other randomly as you'll play everyone in the quarterfinal. But in night 8 and night 16, Stars will face off in the draw bracket based on the league table following night 7 and night 15. So after night 7, you'll have it, and after night 15. The only thing that night 16. The only thing I don't get there is why would you do that in night 8?
Because night 8 always used to be judgment night.
No, wasn't that night 9? Night 9, did you have 10 players?
Yeah, I'll get halfway, I guess.
It seems like it's just before halfway, depending on how it falls. Yeah, it depends how. Oh, yeah, of course it is, because you've got 8. Yeah, sorry, it's me being off on one. It's been a long day. Yeah, night 8 and night 16 would be halfway. So you will have 7 and 15 where you'll have those league tables, and then you'll have the draws then, which then I'm not too sure on, because you've got the potential of night 7 having a quarter final, which will also be a same quarter final as night 8. Or with 8 and 9, you could have meeting just more. But whoever spotted that in the statement did always to say that there's a slight tweak to what was released initially.
Yeah. Well, that's I think the most important thing, to be honest, was the players rather than the format, even to a point. That was for me more important. But we just have to sit and wait, don't we? We just have to sit and wait on that one. Hopefully, we get some information on that sooner rather than later. I think it's better to get it out of the way. I think they messed up a little bit by just not doing it all. They should have just done it all in one. What's going to happen now is people are just going to be sat here doing what we're doing, humming and ahhing about it. Do you know what I mean? They should just come straight out with it. This is it. There you go. I think.
To be fair, boys, we were only going to jump on for half an hour. We've done an hour, and you guys have absolutely rocked it for us. Literally, we're going to pop on for half an hour and just have a chat. It's ended up being an hour. But after doing it all day, we're going to call it a day. We'll take it in. We'll digest it all a little bit more, and we look forward to when the players are actually announced, boys.
Yeah, exactly. Also, that's what we can do now, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and for everyone who's joined now, for even more reaction, make sure you join the live lounge on Monday, because this will certainly.
The live lounge Monday could be interesting.
We've got a week of Q-Stall to talk about and what a week it's been for everyone on the stream. But we've also, this is certainly going to be one of the points that we'll talk about in on Live Lounge on Monday, where we'll have 3 happy people for a change, Phil, because there's no dog.
Yeah, absolutely. Boys, thank you very much for taking an hour out and joining us. We have been Online Darts. Back tomorrow morning for the final day of Q School Live. Make sure you check in and make sure you subscribe to turn notifications on. I've been Phil Bars, joined by Boise and Tiz this evening. Gents, it's been a pleasure, and we will see you all tomorrow morning.